Hi friends, welcome to Social Studies. Today we are going to be focusing on the election day. And our election day is not actually today. We'll learn about when that is. But our I can statement for today is I can summarize election day as well as the process behind voting. So, some key vocabulary terms that we're going to be talking about today. The first one is popular vote, and this is the results of the people's vote. So, when anyone who is 18 or older goes and votes, this is the result of every US citizen. The electoral vote are the votes casted by members of the Electoral College, and we're going to get into that a little bit more on as to what the Electoral College is. It's not actually a college like Iowa State or University of Iowa, but it does depend on it is for each state, and it depends on how many people populate your state, that live in your state, and we're gonna go into more depth of what that actually is. So, when is election day? Take a minute, think about it. Maybe you know when it is. This year, it is November 3rd, and you may be asking, huh? What do you mean? This year? Why does it change, Miss Mafia? Let's figure this out. So, this changes because it is the first Tuesday after November 1st, and this might be different depending on how the year falls. It may be this year is November 3rd, maybe it might be November 1st or the 2nd, but it is the first Tuesday after November 1st. So, November 1st this year falls on a Sunday. Monday is the 2nd. Tuesday is the first Tuesday. That is the 3rd of November. So that is why it's this year. It might change each year depending on how the year goes. So these are just some different ways to vote. The first way to vote is absentee voting, and this is if a voter is living away from the place that they registered to vote, they can request an absentee ballot. This kind of is more so. Maybe you go to college and you're from Iowa, but you go to college in Illinois or you go to college in Texas. So you technically still live and are a resident of Iowa, even though you go to college in Texas, but you're not registered to vote in Texas because you're technically not a citizen there. You're just going to college there. So this could be a way that someone could say, "Oh, here's your ballot." They'd send it in the mail, and then you could fill it out and then send it back to them. Another way to vote is by early voting, and if you are unable to vote on election day. Some people, you may have to work, you may have other things going on. Maybe you have a family and you have to get kids to school. If you are not able to vote on election day, you can vote on other days that lead up to the election. Another way is a mail in ballot, and then you can receive your ballot in the mail, and then you can submit it by either mail or dropping it off in a secure ballot box. And then maybe this is the same reason you can't go in, or especially for our time now, maybe you're kind of nervous to be around those people. You don't want to go wait in line because of the pandemic going on, and you just want to be okay. Maybe I just want to mail in my ballot this year and kind of stay safe and stay precautionary. And so I know a lot of people are choosing to do mail in ballots this year. The last way you can vote is actually on election day, November 3rd. You can go to your registered place to vote on election day. And this depends on where you live, where you go to vote. And so, say you live in one neighborhood, maybe you'll go vote at the high school, maybe you'll go vote at a gymnasium or a big area that can hold like a lot of people. I know that in my neighborhood back in Illinois, there was kind of like a recreational center in my neighborhood, and that was where I went to go vote. And so you can't just go anywhere to go vote. So, say I live in Des Moines and I want to go up to Ames to vote, I can't vote up in Ames because I live in Des Moines and I have to go to my registered place to vote. And you can look that up on the internet if you're not sure. But yeah, you can do it on election day. Now we are going to talk about the Electoral College. And this isn't a college like the University of Iowa, Iowa State University, or University of Northern Iowa. It's not that kind of college. but it is a group of people who are called electors, and they will have the final vote for president. So the popular vote or the people's vote, you and I and the citizens of the United States, our vote will determine the way that the electors will vote. And so this there are a total of 538 electors, and this is determined by the population of the state. So we can see that Texas is a little bit higher population because they have 38, and so is California. They have 55. But then if you look at states like the Dakotas, North and South Dakota, they only have three. If you look over at Maine, they only have three. Um, and we only have six. And so, depending on your population, is the number of electoral votes that you get and the people who are in the electoral college for your state. And so, this is very important to go vote because the majority of what our state is will get all of those votes. We're going to kind of walk through the voting process and what happens after we vote. So, the first thing that we're going to be doing is that the registered voters are going to place their votes for their candidate, and this will become the popular vote for their state, either Democrat or Republican, or if they are a third party, this will become whatever one has the most is going to be the popular vote. So then, after we all vote, all the registered voters, then it is going to affect the Electoral College, and the candidate who wins the popular vote will win all of the electoral votes for that state, except if you are a resident of Nebraska or Maine. These states will split their votes. So, depending on, so say maybe they have a little bit more people who want one party than the other, they're going to split them based on the number of people who voted Republican versus the number of people who vote for Democrat. And these are the only states that do that. The other states will get all of the electoral votes for that political party. So then after that, once the candidate receives at least 270 electoral votes, this is just a little bit over half of the number, they are going to be the election winner for president. So there's also these states called swing states. They're also called battleground states. And they are states that could either win the Democratic or the Republican vote. Conversely, safe states usually lean more towards Democrat or Republican, and these are a little bit more predictable. So if you maybe live in one state that's more so known to go to the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, these might be a little bit more easier to predict. And this is because in years past and other elections, they have voted for the same party the entire time or most of the time that these states. But in this election for this year, the states that we were considering swing states are North Carolina, Florida, Ohio, Iowa, Georgia, and Maine. And these are all states that are kind of like a toss up. They could go 50-50 either way. There's really no pattern or way to predict which party they are going to because in years past they have been kind of like that 50-50. They could go either or way. So for our activity, we are going to be filling out this part of our brochure. We are not going to be filling out this bottom part. We're going to fill that out tomorrow. That kind of talks about the after election results. And then you are also going to go listen to the read aloud, D is for democracy, but